So the we've seen what type of resistance or lack thereof the Democrats in the House of Representatives, and this goes for the Senate, but this in particular has to do with the House of Representatives and the lack of real resistance that they are putting up to Trump's agenda. This time stemming to the military budget, or the NDAA. So this was the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, was passed. This is from the Hill, passed in a 377 to 48 vote. Many of the no's coming from the Progressive Democrats, upset after several of their priorities were removed from the legislation, and all 41 Democrats and 6 Republicans voted no against it. So I guess this was a compromise bill that I think Republicans originally didn't support in July. So of course, the Democrats, being I don't know, the weak backboned party that they are, of course, caved in. So I guess the one kind of concession that the Democrats got from this bill was that the federal workers now have 12 weeks of paid paternal leave. And then Trump got his wish of creating a space force, so the funding for that was also in this. So this is from Trump. Quote, "Wow, all of our priorities have made it into the final NDAA. Pay raises for our troops, rebuilding our military, paid paternal leave, border security, and space force. Exclamation point. Congress, don't delay this anymore. Exclamation point. I will sign this historic defense legislation immediately. Exclamation point." And then I guess also the original House bill would have blocked the Trump from dipping into the Pentagon funds to pay for the border wall. But this, of course, they got rid of that, because who cares about the president being able to misappropriate funds. As well as this also dropped language to reverse Trump's ban on transgender people, entering the military, as well as, this bill didn't have any language regarding, you know, uh, President Trump taking a military action against Iran, as well as ending all U.S. support for the Saudi-led genocide that is taking place in Yemen, as well as, I guess, cleanup of cancer-linked forever chemicals called PFAS, as well as the block of the deployment of low-yield nuclear warhead, and ban new transfers to Gitmo, or Guantanamo Bay. Um, and this was from Ro Khanna, I'm assuming one of the people that voted against it. There are many things you can call the bill, but it's Orwellian to call it progressive. Rep. Ro Khanna, Democrat, California, said Wednesday. So what? The Democrats got, the legislation for the 12 weeks of parental leave for federal workers, and I think it also mentioned there was a pay increase for the military personnel. Those are two good things, but then you also, some really important things are taken out of it, like the not wanting to go to war with Iran, not misappropriating the Pentagon funds to pay for Trump's, illegal border wall, ending the U.S. support of the Saudi-led genocide in Yemen, the ban, or getting rid of the ban of not allowing transgender people into the, military. It was also an increase in the military budget. It also is going to create the Space Force, which is, the further, I guess, the militarization of a new frontier, that being space, which is just insane, and something that we don't need and will just lead to further, you know, militarization of space, and then it'll lead other countries to seek that out further because the United States is doing that. It's just a big waste of money and resources, and yet, you know, Republicans and a lot of Democrats say that where are we going to get the money to fund, universal health care or free college, or, all these other different type of, much needed progressive policies. But yet when it comes to fund ridiculous measures like the Space Force or increases in our already extremely bloated military budget, nope, Democrats, along with Republicans, the vast majority of them at least, just go right along and give these extra powers and funding to the Trump administration, who is supposedly, this, you know, extreme threat to our democracy and to our republic. And then yet they're voting, to give him this extra funding, to give him a space force. So, obviously it doesn't really make sense. And then yet they're trying to, impeach him while they're giving him more money for his military budget. And, the whole resistance is just the faux resistance, like at that. And the Democrats and Republicans, the, mainstream corporate ones, which most of them are, agree on, probably 80 or, 90% of policies in this reauthorization or this passage of the NDAA. Is just, another clear, example of that. And kudos to the progressive members of Congress who voted against that. And I guess 6 Republicans did as well. Not really sure what the Republicans' reasonings for voting against it are, but kudos to them for doing that. And would like to look up to see if my representative here in Washington State, Kim Schreier, to see if she voted against it. She's not super progressive in my book, so I'd be kind of surprised if she did. But it's good to look past the rhetoric of a lot of these corporate centrist Democrats, of how they're out there, blasting Trump during the impeachment hearings, and yet they turn around to vote to give him a space force to lead to, wars in space at some point, probably, unfortunately, and giving him more money to his military. And then, yeah, just the juxtaposition of that, of supporting, is just, very, very, very tragic, but unfortunately not very surprising.